Hello and welcome to another episode of Rate That Full Art Supporter. And today, what supporter do we have for you today? We have no other than Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. You heard me right, Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick. This is one of those names where you look at the card twice and think, why did they name it like that? But okay, they got their reasons, I assume. But you know what? Let's keep this rolling and start off. What does this card actually do? So, when you play this card, which you can only play if this is your last card in your hand, so there's a very, tough restriction for a lot of people, I would say, but it's not, you cannot just play it all the time. But if you're able to play it, you can put any fighting Pokemon from your discard pile onto your bench, and after that, you get to draw 5 cards. This card on its own is pretty amazing because when you read this closely, you notice it doesn't have to be a basic Pokemon. It could be a stage 1 or a stage 2. And you can throw it straight from a discard pile into the bench, which is pretty amazing. And remember the restriction, no cards in hand if you can play it. Well, it has to be your last one. But then if you play it, you get 5 new cards on top of that. So combining this with a Battle Compressor, Computer Search, and all these cards you have available to you in Expanded, this is a very easy card to play. But wait a minute. This card is banned. So, if you could, you can always play Archie's Ace in the Hole if you want a similar effect, but just for water Pokemon. But in this case here, this card is banned because the Pokemon you could put into play this way in the first turn were pretty scary. Archeops, for instance, so the opponent couldn't evolve anything. These is pretty restrictive, to be honest. So, maybe it's for the better it has been banned. But let's see what Maxie's Hidden Ball Trick is called around the world. I own a few of these cards from my own full art collection, which is fantastic to see all these names here. Not going to pronounce many of them because, besides Mark's Balltrick, I do have that one. There'll just be a horror show if I have to start pronouncing all these. So should I really do that? No, I'm going to save everybody from that. Now you can just see, hey guys, this is what it's actually called in all these languages also. We do have, representative of most languages out there. There are a few other languages that are sometimes used. Russian for a few sets as well. I know there's been Polish, but that was before the era of full art cards. Thai is a thing, if I'm not mistaken, and anybody could fill me in if there's other languages that's been printed out there. Well, obviously there have been Dutch cards, but that was only for the first 3 sets. So please comment in the comment section below if you know about any other language cards out there that I've, forgot to mention. With that said, let's see how people rated it. And to recap it very shortly, everybody could rate it from 1 to 5, filling out the survey. And if you want to rate the new cards coming in, you can just look at the description below. We rate from 1 to 5, 1 being bad, and 5 being pretty darn great. So just great, right? And we rate on standard, so when the card was in its standard format. We rate in expanded, and we rate on the uniqueness of the card, and then on the artwork. And you quickly see overall pretty good rating. If you look at standard here, of course, there's some who think it's a 2. And again, you have to think about when this was in standard format, there were still many cards available. It was playable. I even played it myself back in the day. So it was certainly a thing. But also even for expanded, it becomes even better simply because, of the expanded card pool, it becomes easier to play. And this is, of course, under the assumption that it's not banned, obviously. People have been asked kindly to rate this, assuming it was not banned. Otherwise, the card would receive, say, a lot of 1s and 2s, even though the usability of the card is still great on its own, but we have to not take in the ban to account here, otherwise they'll skew the grading a lot. The card is relatively unique. You have Archie's Ace in the Hole that does a similar thing for water, of course, but besides that, it receives some pretty fair ranking. And one thing you notice again, and this is the same for Mark's, I was going to say Mark's Balltrick again, right? But it's Maxie's, in this case in English. You see overall for artwork, it's pretty good rating, and that's common for most full art supporters because, the cards look very cool, right? Compared to the standard print of a card. So it's also why I like collecting these things here. But let's put it all together. We weigh them equally, a quarter apiece, and putting all this together, we get the overall combined ranking of a very, very solid 402. We already noticed that anything above 4, this is, at this point, certainly a top 10 position, and maybe, just maybe, it might just sneak in exact 5th place here. So a top 5 position right above Lysander, which is 401. So it sneaks right above, and you notice that's been higher ranked than Archie's. There's also the effect that, there's a reason why the card is banned. It ranks below Jetsis and Red. That's yet another banned card, funny enough, right? So you see all these very strong cards. Like of the top 5, just give it a closer look, you see 3 of them are actually banned because, well, they're really, really strong. And we, in this case here, we have Lysandre's trump card taking the lead. Well, before we end up here, we still got some bonus facts that you guys send in. And of course, you can always share your bonus fact with me filling out the survey. And for the next free cards, description below, check out the survey. Please fill it out because these are data-driven episodes. But what do we see here? Well, banned we know. And yes, of course, it appeared actually on 4 cards, just like Archie's. And this is, of course, if you count the Pretend Boss Pikachu. And we talk about just Maxi appearing on a card, right? And unlike Aqua, they want to expand the land mass instead of the water mass to, well, get more of that in the world, so to speak. And one thing I found out when researching this, and also a nice comment from you guys here, they used to be on the same team. I didn't know that. Maybe I should go back and play some of these old games. I usually just play Gen 1 and Gen 2, and then I kind of took a break from the video game there. Just been focusing on the TCG. But you know what? For now, that sums up for the bonus facts. Only thing we have left to do here is to say who is up next. And it's no other than the only professor that can pull off shorts and a lab coat at the same time without being, well, told to the authorities, right? So there is no other than Professor Birch's observations. So that will be the next card up for the next episode of Rate That Full Art Supporter. But until then, I wish you all the best and stay safe.